We are live. Yep, we are live.
Beautiful.
Yep, it's welcome to the ACL preview for this new upcoming season. It's me and Chris talking about what the new upcoming season has for us. Chris, say hi to the
Yeah.
folks.
What's up, everybody? It's another good season, another good year, hopefully, of ACL. I'm happy to start integrating some of the Xbox and PC teams, and hopefully, increase the level of competition in here. And it should be good. It should be a good, fun year with everybody all in under one umbrella now.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting season. Of course, we had a couple of complications to start, but I think we've gotten everything set up the best way possible. We're gonna hopefully run a good season with the new teams, and then we're gonna see how the new teams do in the divisions that they were assigned in. I know there was a lot of conversations about where people were placed, but we tried our best to place everybody where we could. But we still had to respect the teams that were been us with that had been with us for a while. So it's like we just couldn't really kick people out just because new people were coming in.
Yeah, that's true. And I know a lot of smack talk's going to come from it as well. A lot of these Xbox teams that are unhappy they got pushed to D2 and D3, they're going to be hungry. And this season is going to be a really kind of a make it or break it kind of deal for them. So, it'll be exciting to see how they end up doing and see if they can back up the talk or if they're just kind of pretenders.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna give it a couple minutes just to let people filter in before we start. Basically, we're just gonna go over the the teams, the hours, the rules, or some rules,
Yeah,
and then go from there. See what your opinion is on some teams. Trying to
absolutely.
check, make sure that this is doing what it's supposed to. We haven't streamed since.
Since the ACL final, I don't
Yeah, we
think.
haven't streamed since ACL final.
Yeah.
That's fun times. Me and Don watching the same four teams destroy people. I think we watched Mortales like 7 times.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they ended up taking it home. There was a lot of controversy in that finals game with Send and two teams with a lot of players that aren't based here in the states. Obviously causes a point of contention, but I mean, they saw it through and they won, and good for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I mean, it was the first time ACL Cup came back. I think a lot of people have been clamoring for it. So we'll see if we bring that back in some way potentially.
Yeah,
Uh,
thinking maybe if there's time over the summer again, I think it'd be a good time to add it. So
yeah, we got a couple of new exciting things coming for ACL. Outside of just ACL leagues, just I think we're starting to come out with some different things that weren't possible before, but now I think we finally be able to run some things for the
yeah,
teams. Hopefully, benefits everybody.
agreed.
All right, let's go ahead and start with this beautiful slideshow that I created 5 minutes ago. Shout out to our graphics guy. All right, so first graphic. New season starts 10/19/2023. That's Thursday. For everybody that keeps IMing me, that's the start date. It's been the start date since August, and don't see it changing. Uh, yeah, so that's it about that slide. I mean, I know people want to know the start date, so there it is. Hopefully, I can stop being asked about it. The ACL schedule, just for everybody that's either new or is coming back. Hours are still the same. Tuesday, Thursdays, 9:30 p.m. Eastern for ACL East, and then 9:30 p.m. Pacific for West. We're not adjusting times for anything. That's our time. That's always been our time, and that will continue to be our time. Just so everybody knows. And then just a quick little thing about our league. We have a lot of people that just completely want to ignore our rules and the way we do things, but we are set up in a pyramid style. We have Division 3, Division 2, and Division 1. We don't have a West D3 yet, but the goal is to eventually have all three divisions in each side one day, which is possible if we continue to grow as the way we're growing. And yeah, there's promotion and relegation. Big this season for sure. There will be relegation in D2 and D1. I think the past couple of years we've kind of had not enough teams, so people kept going. So yeah, I believe our new manager applications this season we did over 104 teams that applied,
Yeah,
which is crazy number. I mean, I don't think we've seen that
I don't
since.
think we've ever since. Oof, I mean, this has been a long time, a really long time. It's really impressive.
Yeah, ever since we switched, it's from PS4 to PS5. That's one of the biggest numbers we've had. And then in the league total, I think we have 105 teams now through all our divisions, which is exciting.
Yeah,
So let's talk about
absolutely.
some of these teams. We'll start with D3. We will be having, I believe, 23 teams in D3 competing for a chance to go up to D2.
Yeah, and something to note, we ran a D3 promotion tournament heading into D2. Obviously, it was optional, but it was a good time for some of these D3 teams to come out and kind of prove their mettle, and kind of show what they had to bring to the table. Obviously, we saw a lot of good ball played. Team ended up winning. Decided or was in a promotion spot, decided to not go up. So I think they'll be problematic for some of the other D3 teams, and we'll see if these guys can run the table the whole season, or if there's somebody that maybe that didn't participate in that tournament and they ended up just running the table and making it a really good D3 season this year.
Yeah, I mean, I was adminning the tournament, and I think a lot of D3 teams were surprised with the competition. I mean, not all of them competed, so it would have been interesting if all 23 teams competed to see who had the right for that spot, those 5 spots. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be competitive. I think a lot of people underestimate D3. It's more competitive than people think, and it's a battle down there. People are trying to get to D2 because they know how much that means.
Yeah, and on top of making D2, obviously with the big division, and you're only one step away there from D1. I mean, you're playing for a sizable prize. A few $100s. I mean, that's and a lot of bragging rights. I mean, that's it's a lot of money in your pocket for a season well done. So on top of the promotion and playing these better teams, I mean, maybe you win prizes along the way. Maybe you have a top score, and maybe you really start making waves in the community, and maybe just build off of it. A lot of these teams at one point were, D3 teams, and now they've made their way all the way up to D1. So, who's going to be the next team that takes that leap and goes from D3 and just basically runs the table all the way up to D1 and then just competes?
Yeah, and it's not like it's not happened before. I mean, I feel like we've had a lot of D3 teams run to straight to D1 after just 2 seasons, so it's doable if your team is willing to put in the work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm looking at it. I think Marlians started out in D3, ended up getting far in D2, stuck around there for a few seasons and worked their way up. I know they did really well. Recently, not too long ago, Fancy Football was a team that existed. Them slash, Technique, basically the same team. Started in D3, basically went all the way up, did really well in the old ACL Cup, and made their way up to D1 and were there for a few seasons. So it's definitely doable. You just got to bide your time and get the results, and you never know how far it's going to take you.
Yeah, for sure. And even most recently, I think Toxic Bunnies
Yeah,
last year they ran through the D1. I mean, from D3 to D1 in 2 seasons. So I mean, it's something that can be done if your team is willing to do what they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Given that you admin in, for that, promotion relegation tournament, were there any teams that kind of stuck out to you, as ones to watch? Maybe it's an Xbox team, maybe it's a PS team, where a bunch of people got together that have already played. Is there any names that you want to throw out there?
yeah, there were a handful of teams that were in that tournament that I think are gonna be fighting for that promotion spot. Guachima,
Mhm.
they're really good. I know they're coming from Venezuela, D1
Yep,
league. They're a really tough team. They were unlucky that they got drawn into a very tough group, but
agreed.
they put up a fight. And I mean, for those Xbox teams that were talking about PS5s, I mean, they took one down. So I think they'll be good. Dynamic actually won a spot in D2, but he wanted to stay in D3 just because, uh, some teams actually like the idea of working their way up. So he was fine with D3. He just wanted to see what the competition was like. There was Casa Negra FC also did well.
Yeah,
Unleashed CF is an Xbox team that did well.
yeah,
That definitely going to be a team to watch. But yeah, there's a couple of teams that didn't play too that I think might be fun to watch, like Savage 11. I know they're
yep.
coming from an Honduran league, so I've seen them, win a couple titles over there. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting competition for sure.
Yeah, I mean, building off of that, you have Chosen 11. I think Dro Gonzalez is running that team. I mean, he's been around for, a few FIFAs now, and obviously is pretty well known in the community. And Capybaras SC, that's run by Daleks. He is quite literally the IFVPA Ecuador national team manager, and he's been around for a long time, played for a lot of top teams. Decided to say something a little bit more casual this year. Him and some of his friends decided to make a pro clubs team, and they're in D3. We'll see. Maybe they're the next team that goes up. I mean, they've got a lot of D1 quality there, so maybe it's their season. Maybe they get taken up by an Xbox team. Who knows?
No, yeah, definitely. And then D3 there, everybody just plays each other one time. Uh then there's a top 8 playoff, and then the two finalists will go to get promoted. And then if there are D2 spots available, we'll base it off seating and how you do in the top, how you do in the table. So, and there's always a couple of D2 teams that drop off. So a lot of these teams are gonna be hungry to get one of those spots.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's move along to our most competitive league, D2.
Yeah, this is always the monster division. This is the first time, and as long as I can remember, that there is not going to be a D2A and a D2B, where it's just going to be one mega division. There's 28 teams. Usually, it was split out into two groups of 16. 16 and 16 D2A, D2B. And that was obviously a slog. And you have a 16 team like postseason. Now it's just 8 slots, and there's 28 teams fighting for 8 slots. So you really need to be in that upper echelon, or else you're really going to behind. You're going to be left behind very quickly because you're competing, and you've only got maybe a 25 to 30% chance of making it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these teams, are coming back from last season. There's a couple playoff teams that you know were close to getting those spots that everybody's wanting, and they're back. So they're gonna be serious. There's newer teams. There's Xbox teams that got
Yeah,
a D2 spot by winning the tournament. There's just new teams that former managers are coming back. So it's gonna be a very good league to watch. And with
yeah.
8 spots for a playoff, it's gonna be a bloodbath down there.
I'm glad I'm not playing D2, having to play each team once. And, if you don't get the result you want, you don't get a chance to have redemption at those guys again.
Yeah, so that's definitely gonna be a new thing for this season. A lot of times when, like you said, when we split into two divisions in D2, it's usually 6 teams that get to go through. But this season we're only doing 8,
Yeah.
so every game matters. And we'll see if a lot of these teams gonna put up or shut up. Like this is their chance to get that one spot. Well, what is it, 2 available spots in
Yep.
D1 and potentially 3 if you can beat.
Yeah, in the promotion relegation game.
Yep.
Yeah, and you take the 3rd seed, so you have to win. You have to win the 3rd place game, and then you have to go on top of that and win the promotion relegation team. And honestly, I think historically those teams have not fared very well, and usually the D1 team stays up.
Yeah,
So
so
hopefully, I'm hoping that someone can buck the trend this at least at some point this year.
yeah, I was trying to go back and think, but I don't believe I've seen a team do it. I think that 3rd place team always gets beat by the D1 team.
Yeah, I can't remember a time either. So
Yeah, so you're really just going for two spots and guarantee spots and a potential spot. So
yeah. Well, let's
uh,
take a second and see, similar to D3, what D2 teams might have caught your eye. I know a lot of these teams have come from the ACL Cup that we ran, in the summer. Is there any teams that you're on the lookout for that might, clinch one of those automatic promotion spots into D1?
yeah, so off the ACL Cup success, I believe Dallas Burn was one of the D2 teams that made it through an
Yep.
ACL Cup past the group stages, one of only two, I think. So, if they're able to keep their core and continue to build on, I think that's going to be a team to look out for. 37th Chamber, I think they are always a playoff team.
Agree. Yeah.
Um, if I'm looking off, a team that is in D2, Fellas in Paris, I've heard a lot from the Xbox people about them. Them and Dream FC. So apparently, those are two teams that are hungry for that D1 spot.
Yeah.
And returning teams, Los Pibes, I believe they were a 1 seed last year that didn't get through. Los Plebes took care of D3 tournament, so I see them potentially
Yeah.
putting in the work. Vikings. Vikings has always been a strong team. Um, there's a couple more, but those are the ones I think are gonna do well and potentially be in discussion for those spots.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. I think to add on to what you were saying, I think No Name 11 obviously has a lot of tenure. Punishers, they made their way up from D3 to D2 this year. 37th Chamber, again, like you said, they made a really good run in the ACL Cup. So did Dallas Burn. I think those were two really just solid teams. Fellas in Paris, Dream FC, like you said, the two Xbox teams, they've been doing a lot of talking on their end. So I'm curious to see if they, can walk the walk or if they're just kind of there saying their piece, and that's that. I'm this is always the most fun division to watch because there's so much parity going on. Just every team is just going for it all the time, and I mean, these 1 seeds, like the 1A team would play the 8B team, and sometimes there'd be an upset. So maybe you had a balance of like a really strong versus a weak division, and that's just not going to exist anymore. The best of the best are going to rise, and I think there's really no free and easy games here. I think that's going to be really, really good for the strength of D2 this season.
Definitely. And yeah, like we said, there will be relegation, so it's gonna be tough, at the top and at the bottom.
Yeah,
I think as far as D2, so we do have a D2 West. We don't have a graphic for them. We're still accepting applications for that. Right now we have 8 or 9 teams. Again, this is the first time we've had a D2 West, I believe, in over a year. We're hoping that growth continues for next season. Uh, but yeah, we don't have a graphic for them. We'll definitely get one done once we get the teams in the system and get their logos.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's talk about our favorite division, D1. Let's start off with the West, which again,
Right on.
this is, I think, the largest number we've ever had because it's
It
the
absolutely is.
yeah West
We
has
have
been
never had a West this big.
yeah West has been a difficult side for us to retain people, but this year we've gotten well over 30 teams, so definitely excited to continue the growth.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm excited for D1 West. I mean, there's maybe 14 to 16 teams, and now that we've got a full slate of 22, obviously you're playing each other once, but I think there's really no easy game here. Looking at all of these teams, there's a lot of quality, especially with the Xbox and PC teams coming over.
Yeah, so from the Xbox side, I believe Playboys was a team that
Yep.
I kept hearing good things about. So that's a team that's gonna be dangerous on the West. There's some teams that are returning playoff teams like MTX Toys.
Hmm.
Malandros used to be anonymous. They were in the final. Famous is always dangerous. Exile is back. El Diablo's back with new management. Temi has a team again. So it's gonna be a tough battle West this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and Famous is there as well. GW is there. They've both gone and won West multiple times in the past couple of FIFAs, or I guess EAFC now. But, I mean, there's just a lot of tenure here. So, I pose the question to you, who do you think makes it out of here? And who do you think is a sleeper team, that might not be the most well known here, but is able to maybe make a surprise run and maybe get like a top seed in West and make a deep playoff run, in your opinion?
Um, from what I've heard, Playboys is one of the best teams coming from the Xbox side, so I think they'll probably be in the running. And then I think it's gonna be like the usual suspects, Guerrilla Warfare. They're a strong team. They've always been a strong team. The villains are back. You know, they always cause trouble for people, so they can sneak in.
Yeah,
FGF Esports, 2 seasons ago they were first, so they might be trying to make a comeback and
yeah, it's very true.
change people's minds because everybody thinks they're a one season wonder. And Diablo with Magic Leo, I think that probably built a strong team. And then Temi always has a strong team, so we'll see. I think there's, like you said, 8 to 10 teams that are gonna be fighting for those playoff spots and potentially be fighting for a final.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and you highlighted Magic Leo as well. I mean, he is, one of the most well-known names, on the PSN side, typically up there with the top goal scorers and assisters. And usually, when we ran it, was an MVP candidate consistently. He's really, really good in the regular season. I think that he is probably a fair shout to be, maybe a top scorer in West, and maybe he takes him to a 1 or 2 seed, and then kind of see what happens with playoffs. I think Guerrilla Warfare, if they do bring Caesar back, I think he's another elite goal scorer in the West. Just talented player. I think that's another one to look at. Melandros, obviously they have Oreo. He was the top scorer in West, and I think he actually might have broken the record for most goals scored last season. So we'll see if he can kind of replicate that this season. But West, I'm looking forward to. I don't think we've ever had one this big, and I definitely not one this competitive either. So it's going to be fun. And I know like the West likes to talk a lot of trash. So I'm hoping to see some good drama and just see some good ball being played this cycle.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a competitive side. And then we're gonna switch over to everybody's favorite division, D1 East. The blank spot is Phoenix, I believe. They didn't send us their stuff until today, so I wasn't able to get it added. But they're an Xbox team that's coming over. But
Yeah, absolutely.
what are your opinion on East D1 East?
I mean, D1 East is always just an absolute bloodbath. I mean, every season, I mean, there is not an easy game on here. I mean, you look and I mean, you go straight down the list, right? AFC Galaxy made a good run in the ACO Cup. Collective FC has been around a long time. Cracks Nation's been around a long time. FC M&M has been on the up. They've been doing really well. Fatal, obviously Fatal. Holix is obviously Holix. Omarcito brought in Iconic as a D1 team. Lucretus made a really far run. Lethal made a really far run in the cup. Marvel is a good team. Nemesis has been around forever. Offside is good. Paris, obviously, they're back and hopefully better than ever. Prolific has been there for as long as I can remember. Rare footage, a nice mix of Xbox and PSN teams. The most hated coming in from the West, them and Toxic switched, basically taking each other's D1 spots. They've made, I think, the past two finals coming out of the West and the ACL Cup final. They won once last season. I think, I'm hoping that they win, maybe something bigger this season. Virtual talent, I've hearing a lot of stuff about. So I mean, it's just loaded with quality everywhere. What about you? What are your thoughts? If you had a sleeper team, to share.
Definitely gonna give some love to the Xbox teams. I know they'll cry if I don't. So Viva, I heard they're a really good team. Virtual talent. There's a team named Most Hated, but I think the most hated club in D1 East is gonna be Red Footage. Uh,
Absolutely.
Peak
if
hated at all-time highs.
Yeah, like the, even the team that's most hated still isn't as hated as much as Red Footage is right now. And then VRP
Yeah, I
Esports.
think Sheikah's.
Now go ahead.
I know Sheikah said a lot of stuff in the Discord, and some of it might be rubbing people the wrong way, but I honestly think it's kind of healthy, and who doesn't love stirring up a little bit of drama?
Yeah, I mean it's fun. It's fun banter between them. But yeah, so VRP Esports, which I believe is taking Dan's spot, is gonna be like a sleeper team because I'm not really sure what they're bringing. So
Yeah,
definitely gonna be an interesting team. Envigado was if for those D2 teams that are crying about D2, Envigado was finished eighth last season, beat a top team, and made it all the way to the semifinals.
yeah,
Out of being the eighth spot, so it's doable. When it comes to playoffs, everybody's beatable.
yeah. And if you heard that other voice, Pippin, a minute or two ago talking about Rare Footage, that is actually one of our other admins, Pete. Obviously, you're very familiar with him for whatever he said, and I'm really praying he didn't leave, but he didn't, thankfully.
Okay.
Pete, if you want to say a word about if you want to say a word about East or anything about the season, the floor is yours. Now that I know that you're here.
Well, I figured I'd drop in. I've been a little bit sick, so I've been muted here because I've been coughing a whole bunch. But I mean, I would say that we have the biggest, most competitive league in North America. I think our next major competitor probably has like 40 teams. I think to your guys' point, West is going to be very competitive this season. Um, if you look at East, exactly like you guys were saying, I mean, there's almost 17 teams that are former champions or have won a league title somewhere. The Xbox guys are supposed to be great as well, especially Viva. I've heard great things about them. Virtual Talent's supposed to be pretty good as well. And VRP. I know that Fellows in Paris was a team that didn't get into D1. They were in D2. They're in D2 now because they won the D3 tournament, but I've heard they were actually really good as well. So, I mean, we're setting up to be stacked as a league as a whole, which means there should be a lot of shit talk. Um, there should be a lot of great matchups. We are doing the only one, game against each other during the league season. So I think that'll make playoffs even more interesting with the fact that you won't get that 2-game read on whatever team you're playing. So it should add a bit of uncertainty to it. Prizes are huge. We got 2,000 for D1, 700 for D2, 400 for D3. The Discord has grown over 1,500 members. We got that back up after having to redo it. And, Henry, Chris here have done a great job of promoting the league, handling admin duties, and now we're going to also start adding streaming, community recognition, and tournaments for the community to offer value to everybody. Make sure you check out our premium subscriptions on the Discord, to offer yourself some different features that you can have as a player. And, we'll kind of go ahead and I'll let you guys take it from there. But good to talk to everybody. I'm Z, obviously, and if you need me, I'll be here.
Yeah, that was his
Perfect.
next. The next slide was the payout, and
Yeah,
Send it, Henry.
no, I put it up while you were talking about it. But like you said, D1 is 2,000, D2 is 700, and D3 is 400. I think all of those are above what we've been paying before. So it's crazy how much we've grown in over almost a season.
yeah, absolutely. And we're gonna keep keep growing, keep up with cool, innovative new ideas. To continue to be the top dog when it comes to pro clubs in North America and especially the USA. I think we've got a lot of great things in the pipeline that we'll allude to a little bit later. But I'm excited to see where this is going to go. So, and thank you as well, Pete, for stepping in and offering your insight as well. It's always good to hear the perspective of other admins and other people. So, thank you for that.
Yeah, definitely. Pete and Fred have been the architects of this whole thing. If it wasn't for them, we'd still be doing one division or two divisions. But because of them, we're able to grow and continue to grow, and hopefully next season is gonna be bigger than this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other things that you want to bring up for D1 East? Whether that's like a top scorer, or, really just anything to say about your piece about this division.
No, like Pete said, it's like 17 champions from other divisions. Holix has won it, Prolific has won it, Lethal's made it to finals. All these teams have a right to the title, and it's going to be really, really exciting.
Yeah. Well, let's crank it up and stir it up one more notch. If you had to look right now at East and West in Division One, at the end of the day, who do you think makes the finals, and who do you think takes it home?
Uh, I could never go wrong betting on Holix to make it to a final.
Yeah, fair.
And on the West side, I'm gonna ride with the new boys, Playboys.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you
I
think?
like that. I think this is the time that Most Hated finally makes it out of the East. I think they had a season in the East before, and I think the last time they did it, they actually won ACL as a whole. So I'm gonna go with the precedent here. I'm gonna say that Most Hated comes out of the East. Coming out of the West, man. Hmm. Uh, I think still, it's still a little bit to be said about the Xbox teams. So, I'll probably go. I'm going to go Bingus, Temmie's team out of the West. And I would say that Most Hated takes it home in the close final. So, maybe we come back to this at the end of the season recap and, maybe we just laugh about how wrong we were, or maybe we were just completely right the whole time. So, it's always good to see, who maybe the top dogs are. And if you weren't listed as, one of those maybe four teams, then, write it down, motivation, and, you can come to my PMs and say, hey, I told you so. You were wrong. So,
Yeah.
the power is in your favor now. Ball's in your court.
Yeah. And then Fatal. Fatal, can't forget about Fatal. I think they've been in the final of the ACL Cup and the last ACL season, so they're definitely gonna be PMing us soon.
It's true.
And
Cool.
then the last thing I had is AVL is back. We're bringing it back, or trying to bring it back for a season. I know it's been gone for a year or so, but it's something that's different. Trying to bring it back. I think we have 24 teams signed up for, and we're still looking for 6 more teams if anybody's interested. But
Yeah, and just to build off of that, the games are Mondays and Wednesdays at 11 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern time, which is, I believe, Monday, Wednesday, 8 and 8:30 Pacific. Again, like Henry said, looking for 6 more teams. Hopefully, looking to get that sorted out. So if you're interested, come PM one of us, and we will definitely take care of you, and we'll get you a slot in there. So
yeah, definitely AVL is just a different animal, just a different league, just to get on a different day to get your juices going. Someone asked about a preseason tournament. I've been asked about that all day. We don't have an ACL preseason tomorrow. I don't know where that came from, but yeah, we don't have one. But speaking of tournaments, we potentially might be starting to try to see if we can host a couple with our partners at NAPC. Walmart Lizard does a great job over there, and he's been a great partner for us. So we might look into sponsor a couple ACL tournaments throughout the season. We're still trying to work out the times because I know some people don't want to stay up late, or some people would prefer them a lot earlier. So we'll definitely be working on that in the upcoming days.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you guys need the ACL rules, they've been updated. If you go to the channel, it's basic ACL rules, and they've been updated for this season. So definitely take those out. Make sure you got your teams correct. You got your team set up correctly, so no one's calling forfeit on you on day one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Chris, you got anything for them?
Yeah, I just had a couple of things. Just pulling it up now, just to make sure that I'm correct on this. Basically, just plugging, the stream on Twitch, on YouTube, and our new Twitter. Our stream on Twitch can be found at official_ACL. If you want to follow, if you want to watch, when we're live, if you want to subscribe, obviously we'll never say no to that. I think, getting more views in there, and kind of having events like these and getting viewership in there and having a lot of people comment and, say their piece obviously is really helpful. You definitely want to grow that, as we continue to grow our league. Our Twitter is at _official ACL. We will be doing giveaways and draws there, as long as you're followed and in the Discord. So, maybe a chance to, maybe get like some PSN gift cards, or, something like that. And then the final thing, YouTube, I believe, Henry, you can back me up on this. Our stream recaps typically go back up on YouTube the following day. And then you can definitely watch there, if you missed today, or if you just want to kind of go back and maybe you just missed something, or something like that. I believe the channel is official ACL. I can put that in the announcements later, but yeah, make sure that you're following on social media. We definitely are going to look to post content there. But yeah, that's really all else I had. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. The more we can grow those social medias, the more we can do stuff for the league and for the players. Definitely looking for the future to start rewarding people. Find a way to give out rewards for top goal scorer. But again, some people like to stat pad, so it's kind of difficult to check 105 teams to make sure that they're doing the correct stats. But if we can find a way to do it, we'll definitely try to bring that back. But again, the more we can grow our social medias, the more attention we can bring in. It definitely helps us in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, for sure, check out the NAPC channel. They do a lot of tournaments every day. They're great partners for us, and Walmart Lizard has always been good to us, so it's always good to return the favor.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't say enough good things about the admins, that are over there. Ralph, Pierre Luis, obviously really good. Wally, really great. Two guys that I've, had the privilege of being around for a long time. So they definitely know what they're doing. And if there's a little lull in the action ACL side or AVL side, definitely, again, I'll hammer it home again. Definitely go check them out. They know what the hell they're doing, and they're the best in the business.
And give a shout out to our graphics guy, Josue Medina. He's always working hard for us, getting us graphics. And check out. We also have his Venezuelan league. If anybody's looking for anything in between ACL East and ACL West, he's always had a competitive league. Has great prizes too. So check him out. I believe the channel is under the affiliates, and it's VPN VZ. Join their Discord. Check them out. Great people.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, I have one more thing.
Yeah.
If managers want to submit best goals, saves, or tackles, send us your stream link to an admin. If you have clips, send that. Admins will review and edit it, and then we'll try to keep post more things on our YouTube, and potentially try to do more. I just draw a blank. that thing we did for ACL Cup.
Yeah.
Commentate. God, I couldn't remember. We'll try to do more commentary on some games, maybe some big games that come up throughout the season. We'll get a few admins to commentate over the games and share it over during the season. We'll definitely try to do playoffs for sure and finals for all 3 divisions. Make sure that all the divisions get that love.
Yeah.
But I think I've answered all the questions I've got. And yeah, appreciate the time. We're out.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.